Hi, welcome to this video scribe on psychology in extreme environments. In this short insight, we're going to explore both the traits and character strengths of military special forces. There have been many books and films documenting the exploits of the world's elite special forces units. The lineage of these highly skilled groups can be traced back to the Special Air Service and the bunch of rogue heroes established by David Stirling, tasked with creating chaos in the North African deserts during World War II. Around the same time, back in the UK and London, Churchill had given the go-ahead to the Special Operations Executive, who were busy creating their own unit of specialist secret agents to thwart the Nazis in Europe. As part of secret agent selection, military psychiatrists were experimenting with a range of methods to identify the characteristics that would and would not make someone a suitable candidate. SOE officers were generally complimentary about their efforts, suggesting that the techniques used were responsible for producing better recruits more quickly, reducing dropout rates in later training, and enhancing the final standard of the finished agent. In the United States, the Office of Strategic Services, the forerunner to the present-day CIA, were also busy recruiting their own clandestine operators for combating the Japanese in the Southeast Asian jungles. A reanalysis of OSS recruitment data suggested that these operators were high in emotional and interpersonal factors, had good intelligence processing skills, and were autonomous and self-motivated. Although nowadays the historic approaches might be considered somewhat amateur, this past work laid the foundation for understanding the psychology of present-day special forces. Since World War II, these units have been asked to operate all over the world and in response to ever-changing threats. The reliance on modern-day special forces continues to grow, and in 2012 the military behemoth that is NATO responded to the continued requirement and published a technical report detailing the psychological and physiological selection of Special Operations Forces personnel. In the report, the authors identify the tasks that these highly skilled people have to undertake, including surveillance and reconnaissance, direct action, ambushes and raids, counter-terrorism and counter-narcotics, and internal defence and the training of foreign forces. The lengthy report hints at the need for driven and highly motivated operators who are adaptable and have high cognitive abilities, can interpret information and make quick and accurate decisions. Whilst research in this area is limited, some interesting studies have been conducted. For example, Braun and colleagues examined the personality of special forces, providing an insight into the traits of US Navy SEALs. The SEALs scored differently on two factors associated with the Big Five personality dimensions, specifically conscientiousness and neuroticism. The SEALs actually scored higher on conscientiousness and lower on neuroticism than a general population comparator, indicating that they were goal-orientated and not easily anxious. Looking at a specific factor of personality, researchers have also studied the role of hardiness in special forces selection. In 2008, Paul Bartone published research conducted during a US Special Forces selection course. Hardiness is associated with being committed, being in control, and enjoying new challenges, and these dispositional traits were a good predictor of candidates who eventually passed versus those that didn't. While personality tells you what someone is like, character strengths or values provide an insight into what someone perceives as important. Research by Gayton and Keogh examined the character strengths of Australian Special Forces personnel. They asked individuals who were attempting selection and those who had passed to rank a whole range of different character strengths. Regardless of pass-fail status, the top 5 strengths rated were integrity, teamwork, love of learning, good judgment, and persistence. Those who passed selection scored significantly higher on integrity, teamworking, and persistence than those who did not make it through. Given the secrecy surrounding many special forces groups, there is not a wealth of literature available on the psychological characteristics of these elite operators. However, you can build a picture of who these warrior diplomats are and the traits and character strengths that make them an agile, adaptable, multi-purpose and unique force. Thank you for listening. This has been a short video on traits and character strengths in military special forces by In Extremis. If you want to know more, why not join us at inextremis.teachable.com.